saved.
Because they're going to release that public safety threat back in the community, which is a huge public safety threat.
So I wonder why they're doing Chicago first, because it's a sanctuary city run by a pretty competent blue liberal governor, J.B. Pritzker. Like Florida, or not Florida, sorry. California, Illinois, New York. These are supposed to be like... All right.
President-elect Trump arriving in the DMV area last night as he prepares to be sworn into his second term in office. The ceremony will now take place indoors due to those frigid temperatures along the East Coast. And we're learning that President-elect Trump appears to be focusing on a central campaign issue of immigration when he takes office. As sources tell us, raids could begin as soon as Tuesday. Let's get more now from our White House correspondent, Mary Alice Parks. Good morning to you, Mary Alice.
Yeah, good morning, Janae. President-elect Trump is waking up right across the street here from the White House at Blair House. It's the president's formal guest house. And yes, he says that he has big plans, especially on immigration, for his first day in office. Overnight, President-elect Donald Trump landing back in the nation's capital ahead of his inauguration, kicking off the weekend with fireworks and a private event at his golf club in Virginia. On his first day in office tomorrow, Trump promising to sign a series of executive actions, telling our Rachel Scott some will be aimed at rolling back President Biden's emission and pollution standards for cars. Others will be focused on immigration. Cities, especially in blue states, bracing for immigration raids to ramp up and start as early as this week.
There's going to be a big raid all across the country.
I haven't done SNL yet. I will bit after this.
Chicago is just one of many places.
Dude, Thomas Homan is such a goddamn hog. Like, he is literally a dude. It is crazy to me that this gross piece of shit, who, by the way, Obama also used in his administration, is now like the face of the Trump deportations. He literally is a like, he's just like spitting every time he talks. He's so gross. Obviously, everything inside of him is gross, but like, it's crazy that he also, like, the evil within him has escaped. It's breached containment and it's coming out of him. Coming out of every hole that he has in his body. He's like, I'm gonna tell you right now, we're gonna eat the children. We're gonna eat them. We're gonna put them in a detention facility. I'm gonna eat them. If you don't like it, you can get out with yourself.
Trump's incoming border czar, Tom Homan, telling ABC News they are reviewing plans in Chicago and elsewhere, and that the focus will be to seek out those undocumented immigrants who are considered a public safety threat and a national security threat. In the nation's capital, the final preparations for the inauguration. A new platform quickly being built inside the Capitol Rotunda after Trump's decision to move the swearing-in ceremony indoors because of the cold. 4 years ago, the inside of the Capitol was still being restored following the January 6th riot. The head of the D.C. National Guard telling me they learned a lot of lessons from that attack and are ready for this year's inauguration. Nearly 8,000 National Guard troops from 40 states already in the nation's capital supporting local police. One of the guardsmen here to ensure a peaceful transfer of power, Philadelphia's Sergeant Breeze, an immigrant from Liberia, who tells me he joined the National Guard to help get citizenship 3 years ago, and that being on this mission is a great honor.
I'll say what my father said when he brought us over here. This country is one of the best countries you can be in. There's possibilities for everybody. I'm a sergeant. I'm leading my troops. It's a great opportunity, man.
And this is, of course, President Biden's last full day in office, and he's squeezing in one final trip. He's headed to Charleston, South Carolina. He has a speech to mark Martin Luther King Jr. Day. He still credits South Carolina with helping to get him to the White House. Whip.
All right, Mary Alice Parks, thanks so much.
Meanwhile, President-elect Donald Trump preparing to tackle the border in his first week in office. New reports signaling massive deportation operations will begin Tuesday. Incoming border czar Tom Homan joins me now. Tom, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So the libs are ready. Juan Soto hater. Tomorrow I will hate watch like no one has ever hate watched before. Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it big.
So these raids, multiple cities, Chicago's been mentioned. What are your thoughts on that? And do you worry about some of these sanctuary cities resisting your authorities?
Well, look, I want Kyle Gorman's raids. They're going to be targeted.
I can't deal with this. I can't. He's so gross, dude. He is such a gross little
Enforcement operations. When ICE goes out, they're going to know exactly who they're looking for, pretty much where they'll find him. It's a well-planned operation. They'll know possibly who's in the household, including children. This is a well-planned enforcement operation. Every target of this operation is well-planned, and the whole team, a team will be out there for officer safety reasons. Sanctuary cities, it's unfortunate. You would think the sanctuary cities, if they care about public safety, if they care about the safety of the communities, they'd let us in their jails. I mean, that's what we want to arrest a bad guy. We want to arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a county jail, where the officer's safe, the community's safe, and the alien's safe. But the sanctuary cities are going to force us into the community.
The alien's safe.
Because they're going to release that public safety threat back in the community, which is a huge public safety threat.
So I wonder why they're doing Chicago first, because it's a sanctuary city run by a pretty competent blue liberal governor, J.B. Pritzker. Like Florida, or not Florida, sorry. California, Illinois, New York. These are supposed to be like technically sanctuary states. I don't know why they wouldn't start with like red states, but instead try to do a show of power in a blue state and a blue city. So we'll see. And
it's going to force officers into the communities, and we'll find the bad guy. On his turf, we have access who knows what weapons, so it's very
I also don't know how this works in terms of like constitutional overreach. You know what I mean?
But when we find the bad guy, he's probably with others that are in the United States illegally. They may not be a criminal priority, but we're not walking away from them. So these sanctuary policies are going to force us in the communities, and the result is going to be exactly what they don't want. More aliens arrested, more collaterals arrested, because they forced us in this position.
We know from public opinion that people want deportations of those who violate the law, who commit crimes while they're here illegally. How soon do you expect some deportation flights to leave?
First week. I mean, we have got over 700,000 illegal aliens in the United States with final orders of removal. President Trump has been clear from day one, from the campaign on to today, that he's going to secure the border, and he's going to have the deportation operation. There has to be consequences for violating our laws. To enter the country legally is a crime. Then to commit a crime against U.S. citizen, President Trump's had it. He has no patience. We're going to start this operation. We're going to fulfill the mandate the American people gave him on Election Day.
Do you worry about the ACLU or some other group trying to tie you up in court?
Oh, yeah, everything we do, we're going to get enjoined down. We'll get sued every day, but it's not going to stop us from doing our job. But President Trump's made it clear public safety is number one on his list. How many young women have to be raped and murdered and burned alive until the sanctuary cities understand this?
I'm going to be honest with you. Like, when a guy that looks like this and sounds like this is talking about like young women being raped and murdered and being burned alive or whatever, I'm thinking, is it the random Guatemalan dude that works at the Chinese restaurant down the street that's doing that? Or is it this guy? Ask a lineup of people, they're probably going to go, that's the guy that's doing it, right? Like, that's the criminal, right? Like, I don't think it's the random brown people that are doing that. You look like the guy who's doing that. Like, almost when he says stuff like this, he's almost like he's jealous. He's like, I want to be able to do it more. They're taking it away from me. It's just like my hard work doing the and it's like hard work for an honest white man, you know? Back in my day, you could do that. Now the Guatemalans came over. They took our jobs on that front. ICE raids are starting in Chicago Tuesday. Know your rights. Community is important now more than ever. Defend yourselves. If immigration agents stop you in public, not while driving, ask them to identify themselves. Provide your name only. Remain silent. If you choose not to speak, remember to not lie. Ask for a warrant. Check to see if your name's on it. And if so, it's spelled correctly. Record and report the incident. Stay calm and don't run. Don't share your personal or loved one's information, name or address. Don't take ICE to your house to pick up your ID. Do not sign anything. Do not consent to being searched. ICE lies. Do not agree to what ICE asks. For example, do not follow them to their office, to immigration offices, or do not agree to meet them for coffee. Know your power. If you are home and immigration agents come to your home, keep calm. Do not open the door. If immigration agents enter your home without your permission, verbally express that you do not give them permission to enter your home and search your belongings. Ask for a search and arrest warrant. Do not answer any questions. Exercise your right to remain silent. If you do choose to answer questions, remember not to lie. Do not sign any documents. It's crazy because, like, I remember doing videos on this last time Donald Trump became president. And things have not changed. Ask to speak with your lawyer or a loved one. If you feel safe, record the event with your cell phone, either through video or audio only. ICE lies. Do not agree to what ICE asks. For example, do not follow them to their office, to immigration offices like the USCIS, or do not agree to meet them for coffee. Homan says Trump admin reconsidering details of Chicago immigration raids after leak.
It's about public safety. Every elected official, whether you're a mayor or a governor or on the city council, your number one responsibility is protecting your community. Help us. Come to the table and help us. We're not asking you to be immigration officers. We're asking you to help you make your community safer by those who are here illegally. So we're going to do this with or without their help. I'm sure we'll be sued, but bring it. They're not going to stop us. They're not going to bully us from doing this job. The American people are demanding safe communities, and ICE, under President Trump's leadership, is going to give them safer communities.
Trump's border czar has privately told GOP lawmakers to temper their expectations with the initial deportation operation, citing limited resources, according to multiple sources. It's a part of a broader, behind-the-scenes level setting of what's possible. Trump has said he wants to deport 15 to 20 million undocumented immigrants. The current convos are looking at deporting 1 to 2 million people, with an understanding that anything beyond that will require a lot more money and resources. That is crazy. Oh, just a couple mil, dude. 1 to 2 million. That's insane. 1 to 2 million people is an insane number, dude. What the hell? It's also, not only is it inhumane, okay, but it's also unimaginably, it's unimaginably cruel. It's incredibly inhumane, and it's also super expensive. Expensive both in the detention mechanism, expensive in terms of the cost of the, did you clean it up? Yeah? Okay, thank you. Expensive in terms of like the detention facilities that they have to pay for. And last but not least, expensive because all of these people make up a very important part, a very significant percentage of the labor force. That's it.
How many executive actions do you expect from President-elect Trump right off the bat to set a tone in your area of expertise? Did
you just have a conversation with Hyatt? No, my brother, man.
I'm not going to get ahead of the president on that. I know that many are going to be signed. I've been involved in those discussions. I know what's coming, but I'm not going to get ahead of the president on that. We'll wait and see what happens on day one.
All right, you're a smart man. It was worth a try, though, Tom. Do you expect your actions in the first week to essentially set a tone for the next 4 years of what this administration is going to be all about?
You're going to see the first week. You're going to see the shock and awe on the border. You're going to see the interior. President Trump has got a great amount of great people in the cabinet he's bringing in. Governor Kristi Noem, you know, she's going to be a rock star. I've talked to her many times. She gets it, and she understands the importance of securing the border and doing this interior enforcement operation. We got a great cabinet work. You got Pam Bondi coming in. That's going to be a great AG. So President Trump put a great team together. We're going to secure that border, the highest level ever. It's the most secure border in my lifetime that President Trump had during his first administration. But this time we're going to finish the job. When you secure the border, you save lives. That means less overdose deaths from fentanyl coming across the border. That means less sex trafficking of women and children. That means less people on terrorist watch lists entering this country. We're going to end it this time. We're going to fix it, and American people are going to see the success of President Trump in his second term.
Tom, I know how busy you are. Grateful for your time. Wishing you the best, sir. Thank you.
This is what Trump ran on. He ran on scared politics. I think it's important to center this conversation to talk about immigration some, and that the last full month of the Biden administration here in December was the lowest crossing at the border since 2020 when Donald Trump was president. Do I agree that if there's bad people here that have committed major crimes, they should be kicked out of this country? Absolutely. But 68% of all the Latinos in America know somebody that's undocumented. And for all you folks at home, that's the folks who's picking your salad and milking your cows. On CNN tonight, in South Dakota, our farmer came on this show and talked about how he had voted for Donald Trump and didn't really think Donald Trump was going to deport the men and women who are milking his cows. Milk's finna go up. Buckle up.
Well, I want to, you made a point here about criminals, because I think they've been pretty clear for logistical reasons that they are going to start with let's figuratively speaking, the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest thing for them to accomplish. Are you, Keith, concerned about a plan that involves rounding up people who are already adjudicated as criminals? Maybe they have deportation orders, maybe they have final orders of deportation, and saying, we're finally going to get you and deport you as a court has adjudicated?
Well, the devil's in the detail, and I don't really know where the details are. It seems like there's a lot of puff right now and a lot of scare tactics. They want people to be afraid about this. I just don't understand how they have the infrastructure to be able to pull this off on Tuesday. I mean, Tom Homan himself was saying, we need 100,000 detention beds in order to be able to do this. We have like 20,000 or 40,000 or something like that. You're talking about doubling the number of detention beds in order to be able to keep these people in some sort of space before you can deport them. How are they going to possibly do this? So I think a lot of what is going on right now is they want people to be scared so that Trump can come in and pretend like he's doing something. We're going to have a lot of executive orders signed in the next few days, and we're going to think there's something happening, but I don't really think he's going to be able to do as much as he wants to do. But it will be dangerous, but not as quickly as he wants it to be.
I think, though, that what's important to remember is that a lot of the policies that were put in place by the Biden administration are going to be taken away, so that hopefully we go back to the Trump way it was, where the stay in Mexico policy. I mean, we had a week and a half ago in Boston, we had a situation where an illegal was in a housing unit with over $1 million worth of fentanyl, an AK-47 and weapons. And these are the type of people that they want to get rid of.
We have
These
American
are the people,
citizens in Las
there are going to be
Vegas
plenty of
and
people,
New Orleans who are killing people as well. I mean, we have American citizens in the United States who are committing acts of terrorism, who are committing murders and crimes. In fact, American citizens, natural-born American citizens, are more likely to commit those crimes than people who come here as immigrants.
Then they have to face the court as well.
It's easy to pick out a case and cherry-pick this and say, this is the problem that we're all facing because this one person did this one horrible thing. And we can all agree that that's a horrible thing. But that's not how you make policy. You don't make policy because of anecdotal evidence. You make policy based on facts and statistics and data.
Yeah, and the fact remains that the overwhelming number of immigrants here are law-abiding people who are paying taxes, who are following the law. And this sort of notion of like, we must remove all of them as rapidly as possible, and that's the problem with America, that's a really dangerous way to look at it.
Well, they're not going to be able to remove all of them.
That's right.
Like, almost everybody acknowledges that.
This is one of the best panels I've seen on it, both with Torre and Chuck Rocha. Like, this is one of the best panels I've seen on CNN so far. It's like they flipped the script entirely. Instead of having like 11 assholes in suits that are former or current Republican advisors, you know.
And so are we going to see...
Yeah, where's Scott Jennings to just like, well, where's Scott Jennings? I need to see Scott Jennings say some racist shit. To be like, hey, when we're done with the Mexicans, we should do it to the blacks or something. You know what I mean? But in a liberal, appropriate way.
Bunch of activity on Tuesday, and then it's going to taper off when people turn to other issues that come up, because to get to even 1 million is going to take quite a long time. It could take the entire year, let alone 11 million. That's probably not going to happen.
You'll see activity. I don't know about a lot of activity, but for anyone who thinks that Donald Trump is bluster and bluff on this issue, he ran on it. He didn't run on scare tactics. He ran on what was either...
Yeah, they got Fat Jennings instead.
They're the top issue or the second top issue among the American people for the entirety of the campaign. And so you're going to see him deliver on his promise. It will be a promise made, promise kept to start moving forward on that. But I will say, I think it is a fair criticism that expectations have not been appropriately set. I think
like former White House spokesman for President George W. Bush.
that Donald Trump, Tom Homan, the entire team needs to do a better job explaining precisely what we will see and when, because there are some folks on my side of the aisle, Republicans, who are going to expect everything to get fixed in 6 months, and there are others who will expect absolutely nothing will happen. Government is government. It's going to be messy. It's not going to be easy, and they need to be honest about that.
What are we in for in terms of the legal environment? I mean, I remember almost like it was yesterday, that first week of the first Trump administration, when people were at airports, there was mass confusion both inside and outside of the United States. There were court cases being adjudicated in the middle of the night, all kinds of things like that. It was actual pure chaos.
I remember that. That was going back to the Muslim ban and a lot of the stuff that was putting in. Let me live this in real life. Both of my business partners are immigrants. They've both been in this country over 20 years. One of them under DACA, the temporary service for kids who have come, and the other under TPS from El Salvador. Both went to their entire school in America. Both graduated with honors. Both of them now are business partners with me and make more money than a U.S. congressman and don't know the certainty of what their lives will be. Have they broke the law? No. But if they stay past March when one of their TPS expires, then they have, quote unquote, broke the law, to your points about devils in the details. So real people are living this, and I have a very, very good life. And folks around me have a good life. Think about the people who are just trying to make it every day and the uncertainty in their life.
So if this had been an issue that both sides in Congress had been actually trying to fix for years, I could understand this. But this has been a problem that especially Republicans have lifted up and not wanted a solution so they could continue running on it. And this is like the ultimate I'm going to seem tough on crime moment. And it is going to be quite frightening for a lot of Americans to watch these sort of raids. This is not the sort of America that a lot of people.
What's old is.
All right, let's get to Dave Chappelle. Did you see the new New York Times poll? I did. A new New York Times poll shows high support for deportations ahead of Trump taking office, including 63% supporting deporting people who came here during the Biden administration. So here's the issue. This is what happens when the Democratic Party completely cedes ground to the Republicans on this agenda and doesn't ever counter message for the past 4 years. And as we now enter the final phase of full tilt fascism, we arrive at two different alternatives, okay? I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on here. Either A, people are going to start seeing how awful and how cruel and how ruthless this stuff is when it, happens in their backyard and quickly change their attitude, okay? Or B, the much worse outcome is we're totally on board with fascism, okay? I still think A is more likely than B. I still think that people will, as is predicted, as it usually happens, once it starts harming them, once they start seeing it happening, they will most likely go, oh, I didn't know it was going to be this bad. This is terrifying. This is terrible. Okay? I don't think people are going to be like, oh, yeah, America is truly great now that we deported the Mexicans. Because it's not true. Because, once again, I repeat and I remind you that the deportation stuff is not beneficial. It's not. Under no circumstance is it actually a good thing. It's not going to lead to better job opportunities. It's not going to lead to cheaper rent, cheaper housing. It's not going to lead to any number of different things that Trump has lied about. It's not going to decrease the crime happening in cities. Okay? Unless you want a white ethno state, first of all, a shit ton of Americans who are not undocumented are also not white. So, no. This is going to bite Americans in the ass because you will have nobody to clean your bathrooms or work in your plantations for the ridiculous salary that's paid. No, I also think that is a part of it as well. My dad loves it. I went to high school and played soccer with an undocumented kid in South Carolina. We're fucked. The only people who truly are with it kind of recognize the negative consequences of such actions. But remember the treat the right treaty, okay? Remember, Americans are little treat-the-rights when the treat prices go up. Or Americans are incredibly selfish when a person that they like, that they hang out with, that they see, that they wave to down the street, that takes care of their children, okay? Like when their neighbors start getting busted for this, they're going to be like, oh, it's not just the bad immigrants that are being deported. It's all immigrants being deported. What the hell? And that is because There is no such thing as bad immigrants. Okay? The people, the undocumented migrants that come to this country and do crimes are going to prison already. If you thought that they weren't going to prison, you're delusional. Okay? You think the police force is woke? That ICE is woke and they're just going, yeah, sorry. I know I want to, they catch a serial killer. Okay. And then they're like, wait, what's your nation of origin? And the guy's like El Salvador. And they're like, no, we have to let you go. Like, that's not how this works. I'm delusional. You are delusional, you're saying. I'm the delusional one because I don't believe that the police departments are actually, in a very woke way, releasing undocumented migrants that are doing rapes and doing like a number of different crimes. That's what you think. Like, I'm the delusional one. You're the sane one because you know the truth that police departments all around this country are actually catching serial killers, rapists, arsonists, and the like, and then releasing them when they tell the cops that they're, I'm fucking finished, chill. Okay, well, now you're banned, okay? Stay out of American business. Oh, Asman just went offline, got it? Yeah. Get your Finnish ass out of this conversation. You're finished, okay? Anyway, do you support or oppose each of the following? Deporting immigrants who are here illegally and arrived over the last 4 years, 63% support. Deporting immigrants who are records, 87% support. Deporting all immigrants who are here illegally, 55% support. Ending birthright citizenship for children who born to immigrants who are here illegally, 41% support. Ending birthright citizenship for children born to immigrants, getting 41%, makes me kind of feel like it's not as much column A, but more so column B. Okay, where they're like, yeah, no, we do want to, denaturalize people. Ending protection from deportation. Ending protection from deportation for immigrants who were children when they entered the U.S. illegally. Ending DACA, 34% support. That is 3 times higher. The level of support for ending DACA is that last line. Okay. The DACA program, the Dreamers program, Deferred Action on Childhood Arrivals program, had 10% support under the last Trump administration. It's never swayed away from 90% support to defend DACA. That means it's increased 3 times. That is what happens when there is no adequate counterbalance to the endless faucet of immigrants or rapists type arguments. Okay? And it is completely born not out of real data, but out of the manic, hysterical fantasies of the racist Republican right. It's crazy. If you knew even a little bit about all of the rules that are set in place for DACA, you would understand why this is insanely cruel to suggest. You know how Biden can somewhat repair his legacy, Reagan-style amnesty? What are you talking about? It's over. Donald Trump is president starting tomorrow. It's done. Joe Biden is done. I mean, he's been dead for quite a while now, but Biden's already asleep probably. It's about to be 8 p.m. on the East Coast. He's in bed. He's in his jammies already, sucking on his thumb.